That's Cold Sweat right here on your Classic Metal Show from their breakout release. That one featuring Mark Ferrari on guitar, and that was the band that would have also featured Oni Logan, but George Lynch stole him for the Lynch Mob.
Whoops.
So anyway, that was the post-Keel project that Mark Ferrari was involved with, and I caught up with Mark Ferrari this week, and I will post that interview tomorrow. Ooh. So you can see what Mark has to say. But our good friend Dave Tedder of Head First Entertainment, he has taken it upon himself to remaster and reissue the Cold Sweat debut.
Man, that's going to sell tens of copies.
So anybody who has an interest in that band, or didn't get your copy the first time around, you'll be able to get it.
So who was that singing?
That was the replacement guy. I got to tell you what his name is. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
God, I'm sitting there listening to it thinking it was Lita Ford.
He does sound a lot like Lita Ford, but no, that's actually a chick.
Right.
That wasn't a chick, rather. That was actually a guy.
Right.
Let's see, what's his name? He's not somebody that is a household name.
So he didn't go on to do anything else, huh?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I don't know that to be fact, but not that I know of.
Cold Sweat, then carpentry.
But quite possibly, yeah. Quite possibly.
What all guys do.
Well, that was one of those deals where it was too little too late.
Right.
So, Cold Sweat, they didn't, they came out right at the very beginning of the 90s. And by the time they were able to go out there and promote and tour and everything and get set for a second release, the label was just like, we'll pass.
See, it's funny because when Tedder pitched it, I knew of the name.
Yeah.
And I knew Mark Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I don't have a fucking clue on this shit. I didn't know anything about Cold Sweat. I didn't remember him. I thought maybe it was just a band that was middle popular when I was out of the country. That's why I just was like immediately like, Neeley will do that one.
Yeah, well, what had happened with Cold Sweat is that Mark left Keel.
Mm-hmm.
Keel was still active at the time, but he and Ron were not seeing eye to eye on the direction.
Okay.
So Mark left the band and decided he wanted to form his own band and call it Ferrari.
Okay.
Just like Dokken or Lynch or, anything else. But the actual car, Ferrari, pitched a bitch about him using Ferrari as his name, even though it's his real name.
Is that his real name?
That's his real name.
No shit.
Yeah. So he was going to call his band Ferrari, and then they were getting ready to record under the Cold Sweat name.
Right.
And George basically stole Oni away from him.
Whoops.
So right when they were ready to start recording, they had to go find a new singer.
Oh, wow. And that's the guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just did not. That's way more than I ever knew about the band.
Yeah, there's an old story that goes that George Lynch had heard Oni Logan singing and basically told him, he says, do you want to play in a band called Ferrari, or do you actually want to drive a Ferrari?
Right.
Because if you play with me, you'll be able to afford a Ferrari.
Yeah. How'd that work?
Well, they had some success.
Yeah, they did.
Until, Oni kind of fucked up.
Yeah, now he's driving an Uber.
Yeah.
And I mean driving it, not riding in it.
No kidding. All right, well, things are changing in this country and around the world. Obviously, we mentioned the French stuff.
Yeah.
With the upheaval and the revolt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think somewhere down the road here shortly, we're going to also see an upheaval and revolt, especially when it comes to censorship in this country.
Oh, you think it's coming, huh?
I do. I mean, I know that we, mostly you, have prepared for if somebody decides we don't need to be on YouTube anymore, or whatever services we happen to distribute the show.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
we're all set up, dude. We have BitChute for the videos. We have
Gab.
We have Gab for the basically Twitter or Facebook type thing. And as of today, we have a subreddit on Reddit. You know, it's subreddit it's just subreddit Classic Metal Show.
Okay.
And I'm posting on all of that shit just because I know we're gonna get zapped.
Yeah.
You know, I know it's coming. It's just waiting for it to happen at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Well, anyway, I've played some stuff from this commenter before, this Styx Hexenhammer 666.
Yeah.
He's usually pretty good with his commentary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently some of the higher profile YouTubers got deplatformed this week.
Yes, more of them.
Patreon, which is a money collection service, as well as PayPal, has basically pulled the rug out from several of these guys this week all at once.
Right.
And it's just like, isn't it interesting that Patreon and PayPal, they're not the same entity, but yet they deplatformed these people at the same time?
Yeah, what a coincidence.
Yeah, what a coincidence. So if you don't think that there's some kind of collusion against these people, and you're going to find out something interesting here. The ultimate wisdom about what's driving this is that the legacy media, i.e. CNN, MSNBC, I don't know if Fox is behind any of it, but they're losing ratings due to people being independent broadcasters.
Oh, yeah, because nobody's watching that shit anymore.
And they're the ones who are basically driving this movement to get these guys off of the YouTube and, you know, whatever platform that they're using, because they're pissed off about it.
Yeah, well, it's taking money out of their pocket. They can't charge as much for advertising.
Yep, you're right. So let's listen to a little bit what Styx and Hexenhammer has to say about this.
All right.
And, I was halfway through my first cup of coffee when I found out that Sargon of Akkad had been kicked off of Patreon. And I heard a rumor he was also kicked off PayPal same day. And there's nothing coordinated about that. Not 100% sure that's true. And then James Alsop has also been kicked off Patreon. Milo was kicked off yesterday after just one day. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm trying to rack my brain. I'm scratching my head trying to think of what would possibly justify kicking Sargon, of all people, off of Patreon. How could he be construed as an extremist or a criminal to get him kicked off? I got nothing. See, the thing is, when we were sold Silicon Valley censorship, well, I didn't buy it, but, the normies did. What were we told about who specifically was going to be the target? In the wake of things like Charlottesville and the Europa United stuff over in, or whatever it was called with the boat over there with the Lauren Southern. Remember when Lauren Southern got deplatformed? She was like the first to get kicked off Patreon. Jack himself came out, because she had a large audience and a lot of people were upset. He came out and said, look, the only reason she was banned was for manifest observable behavior, MOB, which is very, very funny as an acronym. Manifest observable behavior is what Patreon alluded to with regards to this. They said, look, it was a physical, tangible event. We've got literally footage of her firing a flare-off over this other ship. That's why she's banned. We don't care about her political views. We don't care about, what YouTube videos she makes. She's not calling for violence or anything. She was in a physical situation in which harm imminently could have occurred, and so we don't want money to be raised on our platform and given to her, because then it looks like we are funding potentially, a murder or something.
That's a convenient excuse.
Yeah, it is.
What about these rap videos and stuff which depict, gang violence and things?
Yeah, World Star.
Yeah, exactly.
Every World Star video is just... I watched a World Star video this week where a guy... Did you see this video? If not, somebody can look it up and put it in the chat room. This guy, he's sitting there waiting for a victim to walk by, and he pushes this guy in front of a truck.
Yes, I did see that.
And then while the guy is pinned under the wheels of the truck, he steals his wallet and leaves.
Right.
What a fucking jizzball. And thankfully they did arrest this fucking cunt. But that guy's lucky he's not dead.
Yeah.
Fucking thing just about ran over his goddamn head.
Yeah.
That shit's crazy, man.
It is. But, you know, this is the world we live in.
Yeah, you got to be ready to fight at all times when you're fucking out. I mean, I go anymore, like even when I'm at these shows or whatever, I go keys in fucking hand, ready to stick it right in somebody's fucking eye if they come up on me. You know, I'm absolutely ready to hurt somebody if fucking anything comes near me.
Right.
You know, because you have to be anymore. You know, I mean, I can't fathom, and you more than me, I can't even fathom that you would feel safe, you know, in the neighborhood that you work in, anywhere outside of the gate that surrounds your company.
Well, I don't go outside the gate except in my car.
Yeah, and even then, it's with the doors locked and the windows up.
Yep, pretty much.
I'd imagine you don't roll your windows down at all, ever.
No, I don't.
And how sad is that, man? You got the nice sports car that should be driving down the road with the fucking windows down in the summer, but you live in such a place that fucking it's not worth the danger that it provides.
Right.
It's fucking disgusting, man.
It is. All right. Well, let's get back to this. Find out, you know, the wisdom behind these people getting kicked off of these platforms.
Right.
And it's just gotta keep continuing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's manifest observable behavior. When has Sargon fired a flare at someone? And by the way, I disagreed with Lauren Southern getting kicked off because I correctly predicted that it would morph from that to other things. It wouldn't be just manifest observable behavior. What mob has been involved with Sargon other than the outrage mob that probably mass raided and complained to Patreon about his views, feels about one thing or the other? And by the way, to all the other content creators, you better fucking get a clue and start speaking out about this sort of shit more. Because if Sargon is now considered extreme or fringe, sorry, but that puts 99% of all political commentary on YouTube outside of the acceptable realm of Patreon's TOS. And right now, there's not really a Patreon alternative. Yeah, you can take Bitcoin. Yeah, you can take PayPal tips, although they've been involved with the same deplatforming. Again, rumor has it that he's been kicked off there too. Again, I'm not sure where people are getting that info. If you have it, you can give it to me, or if, you know, maybe he can weigh in on it. By the way, Sargon keeps trying to get me to get a Discord. I'm like, I don't know how to use Discord, dude. It's never going to actually happen. I'm old school. Yes, I unironically prefer Skype, even in its new morphed form. You know, Microshaft took over and ruined it, basically, but it's still kind of functional. There are other alternatives.
What's Discord?
I don't know what that is. You sent me this video earlier today, and I looked it up, and I couldn't find it.
Okay.
And I looked under DISK, DISC, and DISQUE because that's the disc is also like a social sharing thing.
Okay.
And I couldn't find Discord or Discord anywhere, so I don't know what that is. If somebody in the chat room knows, please tell us or link to it or something, because I'm going to assume it's some kind of communication,
like a video thing.
Yeah, something like that. But, you know, once I heard that, I was like, well, if it's better than Skype, I'll try it.
Yeah.
You know, why not?
Sure. All right.
You know, there's that one program, I can't remember the name of it, that the BitChute show with Goodman has used several times, which seems good. I don't really have a clue how to operate it. I can remember like Tiny Chat days and shit like that. But here's the thing. If Sargon of Akkad is extreme, most of us would be outside of Patreon's TOS. Now, this could have been a mistake. It could have been outrage. It could get reversed or something. Because I'm sitting there and I'm trying to think to myself, what has he physically, tangibly done or said that could possibly be considered imminently harmful or criminal in nature? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He goes out of his way to say, well, I'm like the alt-centrist, and chuckles about philosophers and shit. Half of his content now is him gaming, playing like Ark Survival and stuff. Is it that he hit too many woolly mammoths? PETA complained. They were upset. He killed a dinosaur. Oh my God, it's a terrible day. No, I oppose this. I strongly urge them to reconsider. It's like, you know, they just got done banning BitChute, and I haven't gotten an update on it. I'm going to assume that their account is still down and that the decision was no, basically, fuck you. Now,
all right, so what do you know about that?
Who got banned on BitChute?
Patreon will not service BitChute now.
Oh, well, see, that doesn't affect us.
Well, I understand that, but the point is that's what happened to Alex Jones. You know, one little thing at a time. PayPal took away his account. MailChimp took away his account. YouTube took away the account. Facebook, Twitter. You know, one by one, they're just like pulling all the everything out from under that guy.
That's why, and you know, that's why I've tried really hard to look ahead and trying to have alternatives in place and ready. I mean, if you go to our page, to the CMS page on the menu, and you mouse over social media, the first two things are Gab and BitChute, because I don't even trust that Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube are even going to be there anymore.
Right.
I mean, eventually they're gonna get wiped out. So it's like and I need to add the Reddit, which I will add tomorrow. I forgot to do that today.
Okay.
But Reddit is the other one that I'm adding as well, because anything goes on Reddit. I mean, Reddit is fucking the wild, wild west. But you know what? I mean, and we need to have that presence there. I mean, the truth is will it hurt the show? Maybe. I mean, it'll probably hurt a little bit, but thankfully we're not. Thankfully, we're not doing this for money, to be making money from these platforms. So it really doesn't matter to us. As long as we have a way to broadcast, we're fine.
Right.
You know, I mean, truth be told, is even without iTunes or any of that shit, I can put the fucking show up to be downloaded anywhere.
Right.
So, you know, we're fine with what we have. It's just pathetic, though. It's pathetic that it's gotten to this point now. It really is. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, this is like book burning.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's you know, I always resist on going with the 1984 reference because it just seems like a lazy reference. But wow, it's hard to argue. You know, it is really hard to argue that is the direction that things are moving toward, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, whatever. We'll be dead before that all falls in.
This keeps happening, and it's like there are still people who believe that this is not coordinated, that it's just these companies, in a vacuum, they decide to piss off large numbers of people. That's never the way that things operate. Always think of the money, and not just think. They kick Sargon off. He's making about $10K a month. It's a nice chunk of change. Patreon's getting a cut of that. When they ban him from the platform, it's not just that they're banning Sargon, it's that they're alienating literally tens of thousands of people who support and donate to his work directly, and over 1 million other people that are at least more passively part of his audience. They damage their brand. A brand is worth its weight in gold, and then some. They are damaging their brand with enormous proportions of the entire creator community by doing this when they deplatform. Therefore, you've got to think to yourself, what impetus is involved with regards to them making that decision? It's because they look, like any rational actor, they look at risk and reward. The risk of alienating hundreds of thousands of people that are on their platform is obviously weighed against the risk of something else, and the risk of that other thing is greater if they don't kick the person off. Now ask yourself, what could that possibly be? Threats against their advertisers. Threats against legislative threats. It comes from government groups. I guarantee you that there are government figures that are partially responsible. It comes from them and the outrage mobs that are controlled by the legacy media and by the political fringe. The true fringe is not the people that are being deplatformed. The true fringe are the people who are willing to send off a dozen fucking emails in a day for $5 an hour in a office somewhere. Those are the ideological fringe individuals.
All right.
Don't disagree.
Yeah. So
he's dead on, man. I mean, he's dead on what's going on. I wonder why he hasn't been harassed.
Well, he has.
Has he? How has he been harassed?
Well, you know, he's expecting, like us, to get knocked off at any time.
Right.
Which is why he too has BitChute and, you know, the other platforms as well, just in case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to anymore. I mean, you have to be ready. I can't believe that there are people out there that are say controversial stuff and have not already built in all the back end stuff. You have to these days. You know, I'm just waiting for it to happen.
I mean, you and I both.
You know, it's like the one that's going to hurt us is fucking YouTube. But whatever. You know, I don't give a fuck.
They're your Starbucks Marxists who say, oh, Bernie Sanders too far right for me, and then they slap on their Che Guevara t-shirt, they go and they play around on their Crapple products. There's your outrage mob. Yes, the manifest observable behavior mob. The only mob involved here is probably a bunch of far-left individuals mass flagging him, ultimately, complaining to Patreon. Unfortunately, the creator community has not yet amalgamated enough to form a coherent defense against this. If Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, who is basically number one fucking classical liberal online, can be considered an extremist, or hateful, or have breached some other part of their terms of service, or maybe they just don't like the dude, hey, sorry, fucking Tim Pool, sorry Computing Forever, sorry Paul Joseph Watson, sorry Matt and Blood, sorry everybody. Fucking sorry a bunch of liberals, too. You think that this is going to be limited? No. I'll tell you what the long-term goal of some groups involved is. And I've already spoken of this. People swear up and down it's not true. I guarantee that it is. What they're hoping to do is to get the right wing to hang itself by making the following argument. Hey, we don't care if you deplatformed Fringe or whatever, just make sure you aim it at the left too. And so they'll start kicking off more independent commentary. Who's responsible for this? Who is holding money over the head of these platforms? Who do you think it is? What's the only group that has enough power to do that? It's the mass media and all of their political partners. The establishment, in the most literal sense. We've gone through this before. The establishment right now is looking around at the world, and they're looking at the rise of actual leftism, which, by the way, they do not like. The corporate core that's responsible for this, unlike the outrage mob they've managed to generate, is not far left. They're a bunch of neoliberal corporate crooks. They're just globalistic crooks. They're people with billions of dollars and shit. They don't want to be communists. They don't want to have to toe the party line. They want to do whatever they want, but they don't want independent competitors to come along. They've formed a situation in which they have gone after primarily the right wing. But it's just a ruse, because they're hoping that eventually the right will call for censorship. They'll actually be aboard with the whole plan, as long as it's also aimed at the left wing. And then once they crush those fringes, so-called, which now apparently doesn't even involve individuals that are truly fringe at all and haven't done anything wrong or unconscionable or illegal, anything that can cause harm. Yes, I'm sure Sargon goes around with a Klan hood all the fucking time in private, dude. They've gone from that. They will slowly grind their way in towards the middle, normalize censorship, and lay waste to all independent commentary. They don't want an alt media, because it's out competing the legacy media. They don't want alternative politics, left, right, center. No. They don't give a fuck what the alternative politics are, but they don't want it to take hold, because they're comfy. They're comfy and corrupt and extremely rich and very powerful. And that's what we're fighting, and yet we've got a creator community. People still fight one another. Yes, I don't care, Mal knew, I think, didn't he sell a bunch of Bitcoin? He's probably got $1 million. He's considered impoverished next to the people that are generating these outrage mobs. And the outrage mobs, by the way, they're being fed by people who, they don't even have skin in the game. They don't even realize what they're doing. They think that they're fighting for good. And that's why the creator community needs to get off their high horse and say, well, these horrible, horrible individuals. No, it's an outrage mob. It's been generated by the corrupt. These people are simply ignorant of what they're being used as, which is pawns.
So... Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's saying everything that I think. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to comment on. He's dead on. I mean, there is no other side. People bitch and whine about censorship and whatever on Facebook, but nobody fucking takes a real stab at doing anything about it.
Right.
Nobody's nobody really has even filed lawsuit or anything yet. It's amazing to me what's amazing to me is that a guy like Alex Jones has not sued the like YouTube or something for unfair business practice, because you can't. Unless I've missed it, you cannot say that certain opinions can be said but not others.
Well, see that. Nobody's said that. What they do is that they come up with that excuse. Well, this violates our terms of service.
Yeah, but it has to clearly spell it out in the terms of service.
Well, but the thing is that they make the terms of service kind of vague to where they say, well, it covers that too.
Yeah, and that's where, but that's where I'm thinking that there's got to be some legal eagle somewhere in there that can say, nah, it doesn't. Or all it would have to do, see, and maybe I'm clueless on this, I could very well be, but all you would have to do, I would think, is go into court with examples on the other side of the argument that are still showing, that are still on YouTube, that have that same gray line. You know, just if Alex Jones, if what he said was something that they're considering quote unquote hate speech, then maybe you show 10 World Star videos that are on YouTube.
Right.
And say, how is that not the same? You know, how is this not the same? So it's an unfair business practice to censor this guy, but not this guy.
I agree with what you're saying. I do agree with what you're saying, because there's a lot of quote unquote objectionable content that's still out there and they don't get banned.
Yeah, fucking Louis Farrakhan. Or how many days in a row do we have to go with the next video or whatever about, the white people need to die?
Yeah.
You know, that's an everyday occurrence these days. And it's like, okay, well, if I was on YouTube every day saying, well, the black people need to die, I would be banned and probably arrested. But somehow that would be the kind of argument, like, if we got banned because of some kind of a racial thing,
mm-hmm.
and we chose to sue, which I don't know that we would give a fuck to care to sue, but if we chose to sue, that would be the way that I would think we would present, is we would find 15 videos on YouTube of black people saying that white people need to die, and we would present that in court and sue YouTube for unfair business practice.
Right.
For not, for not allowing a fair business platform.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd probably win, but it would be inconsequential to YouTube. I mean, I get it. In the end, let's say that we won $500,000. But, and that's probably a big number, but let's say that we did. Let's say that we won $500,000. What does that matter to YouTube?
No, not at all.
They won't even notice that. That'll just be a write-off that they won't even notice. And that's the whole point. But, to what's this guy's name? Styx's point, everybody needs to start doing that, or it's never going to fucking get any better.
Well, that's kind of why I like to bring this stuff to the show, is because, we do have an audience, and I would like to hope that, a portion of our audience anyway might start getting a little active and get a little bit involved in some way or another.
Yeah. Oh, and a bit, you know what? One of the biggest ways that our audience can get involved and active is to, I'm not going to tell anybody get off of Twitter or get off of Facebook or whatever, but use, at least for our show, since you love our show and you like our show or whatever, use the alternative methods to get our show. Get yourself a BitChute account, get yourself a Gab account, and follow that way, so that you're at least supporting the outlets that support free speech, that support the kind of speech that we're doing. Because right now, we get a lot of hits from YouTube and whatever, and that's great. We get a lot of new people from YouTube, but in the end, we're going to lose our YouTube. And once we do, I'm not going to be on Facebook all day long saying, hey, go to our BitChute page, go to our BitChute page. I'm telling everybody well in advance, we got a Reddit page, we got a BitChute page, we got a Gab page. Those are built for what we do that everybody else is getting rid of now. So be ready and support it now. Support those that support what we're about, what you're about. If you believe in freedom of speech and you like this show, then fucking support the outlet that's going to let us continue to do this show. That's one way you can do it. Don't you think?
Absolutely. Get on board early. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because it's gonna go away. And I think people don't believe that. I think people are with not just us, with all of their favorites on YouTube or whatever, they're just like, oh, it won't happen to my favorite. Yeah, it will. It absolutely will. Don't think because it's happening to Alex Jones that it won't trickle down to us little guys. It's absolutely going to happen to us little guys.
I mean, look, he just mentioned like 5 people this week alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they got to clear out the big guys first because the big guys will make the biggest noise about the little guys getting cleaned out. And they will be able to have, let's say that it went backwards. Let's say that we got shut down first, okay? And then we went to Alex Jones and said, hey, Alex, we got fucking shut down. Well, Alex Jones would probably cover it. And then it's a bigger issue. See what I mean?
Yeah. So you get the big dogs first and then trickle down to the little dogs because there's nobody with a big voice that'll back you.
Exactly. Or not a big enough voice to matter.
Right.
And that's just what they're doing. They're picking off the big ones first, and then they'll come after all the little guys, and the little guys will just, for most of them, they're not making a living doing it, so they'll just be like, fuck it, who cares?
Yeah.
I'm going to go fuck my wife instead.
Exactly.
That's what it'll be.
Exactly. Hail and Kill caller, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, gentlemen?
We're well. Who is this?
This is Doug from Liberal Haven, whatever you want to call it, Portland, Oregon. I called a couple weeks ago, and I forgot to mention my name.
All right, Doug, what's on your mind?
No, it's just this topic's really triggering for me. The whole censorship it's insane because I thought that the righty-tighties of the world were back in the day, the 70s and 80s and stuff, when Priest was in Metallica and all that stuff was dealing with their whole, you supported murder of the killings and the skinnings of those kids, and Ozzy did too, Suicide Solutions, the whole thing. I thought it was mainly the righty-tighties of the world that were supporting this whole thing, but then I go back to the PMRC days. It's like, oh, Tipper Gore, she's not a righty-tighty. I mean, she was like the lead voice of it. But no, the censorship thing is interesting because I've been going to college for like 4 or 5 years, and just a stupid little story, and then I'll screw. But a few years ago, I went to a toxic masculinity seminar thingy, and
whoa. Before you say what happened there, explain how it was told to you what it was going to be. Before you went in, did you understand what you were walking into?
Oh, yeah. It was a total, it was something that you see in the little flyers, hey, go to this, Men Are Evil seminar. And I only did it for material because, that's, know your enemy type of thing. And, but no, it was just basically toxic masculinity. It's basically some beta male talk about, let's explore toxic masculinity, how it affects our culture, that type of garbage. But it's nothing special. It's just about how women are excluded and toxic masculinity is ruining our culture. And of course, they never mention toxic femininity or women who use their kids as a way to abuse and screw over their husbands or former husbands. They don't talk about stuff like that. But so it's basically just a male trashing thing. But the last thing here about that, what I found the most egregious and most telling that college campus culture and feminism of today, third wave feminism, is so beyond insane and biased is that they handed out pamphlets of, and one of them was 10 ways men can help change gender violence. Okay, keyword there, gender violence. So that's all the 48,000 genders that they believe in, or all two, who cares? So how men can change and positively influence and change gender violence. And all 10 of those were about men and beating women. Not one of them said women beating men or nothing like that. Nothing. So, so that just kind of, and that's like just one little grain of sand in the beach that is the blatant hypocrisy of the college campus culture. And these are affecting, tens of thousands and millions. I don't know how many people are going to college, but this is the rhetoric that is being said. But hell and kill, all the other lingo, I'm still new to this whole thing, so, fuck you, pal, and hand job, motherfucker.
Hand job, motherfucker.
I'm going to give, what was his name?
Doug.
Doug, next time you call in, slow down, bro. I know you get all nerved up when we answer the phone, but relax. We're just two fucking schmoes. Take it easy.
All right, let's finish this up real quick.
All right.
They're being used as pawns by a bunch of billionaires. They think they're fighting for like a liberal, more left-wing future against the fascists or whatever. No, you're not. You're not fighting against fascism. You actually think Sargon's a fascist. I have some bad news for you. You don't know anything. You don't know shit from Shinola. And as far as Patreon goes, look, you are a fundraising platform. You are not endorsing someone's message by platforming them. You're not a publisher. You're not making... Patreon doesn't make content. It provides a platform for people in many cases who are treated like pariahs by other fundraising abilities. Google says, no, you're not allowed to take ads. You can't have, super chats. We're going to give it to some random charity because someone said the wrong word, which also doesn't make any sense. And Alsop gets banned. Again, I'm going to assume that there is more of a reason for that, but I oppose that too. Milo shouldn't be banned. Yeah, all these people, by the way, they should make their argument to Patreon. They should do it publicly. Don't just do it in private behind closed doors. No, make sure every other creator knows too. This is a coordinated assault upon free speech. Not the First Amendment. I'm talking free speech as a philosophy. It's a coordinated assault on content creation. It's a coordinated assault on the free market. The free market extends beyond just commerce. It extends to ideas. Ideas generate money too. They generate technology. Ideas are wonderful. It's how everything develops. It's under assault right now. And it's not just, my far left is doing this. Yeah, a lot of it is far left outrage mobs. Who created them? Who created the situation in which they reasonably would construe Sargon, of all people, as a fascist? It's because they were lied to by some defamatory hit pieces from a bunch of billion-dollar fucking corporations. You're to stop treating symptomatically and look at the actual underlying disease. The underlying disease is a bunch of authoritarian billionaires, not a bunch of liberal, hipster kids with trust funds. Yeah, that's bad enough, but, what's causing them to be outraged? They weren't that mad 3 years ago. They were not. What whipped them into a frenzy? I wonder. Was it just them in a vacuum choosing to be a bunch of authoritarian pawns? No, of course not. So you got to get hip to the propaganda if you want to fight it. You can't fight if you don't know what you're fighting. It's hard to win a battle if you don't know who your enemy is. That's about all.
That's about all.
That's about all.
Well, not much to add.
No, not really. But, I relate all of this, the rise of this censorship stuff to the rise of Donald Trump.
You think?
Absolutely.
So you think if Hillary would have gotten elected, we wouldn't be having this
Nope,
problem?
Not at all. The conservative voices have been empowered by Donald Trump being in office.
And it shows because he got into office.
Yes. And so it's just like, we cannot allow a Donald Trump to continue gaining power, and we need to shut down anybody who voices anything, remotely conservative.
Right. Problem is, how are they going to shut him down?
Well, they're not. But they're going to try to shut down anybody who supports that philosophy or that outlook or, lives that way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I totally agree that it started with him. That's an interesting point.
Well, think about it. Fake news. Every time he's out at one of his rallies where 20,000-30,000 people show up. Yeah. It's like, look in the back there. Look at all the fake news.
Oh no, I'm not arguing that I'm certainly not saying in any way, shape, or form that they're not out in droves now.
Yeah.
I'm saying is I think it started before 2016 or
really?
15. Yeah, I think it started with I think it started when Obama pushed through gay marriage. Because that's when they all of a sudden start saying, okay, now that it's through, you can't say anything negative about gay, and you have to adopt this principle. That's when it really something that was truly divisive was fucking pushed hard, and that's when I think you saw a lot of people start pushing back.
Mm-hmm.
And then Trump took that to the next level.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying that the movement didn't start. I'm talking about the banning stuff.
Oh, the banning. Yeah. I thought you meant the
No. I'm not talking about the movement. I'm talking about the censorship and the banning.
No, yeah. That of course is happening now. But I thought you meant that them trying to dictate and people starting to fight back or rising up. I
agree with you about the rising up thing starting before this.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about this systematically eliminating people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, with any hope, it's all gonna, I mean, the fact that we can say names like Gab and BitChute and, Reddit and whatnot are examples that there are people that are trying to combat it. So, what amazes me most about this whole thing is the limited number of people. I mean, I see people every single fucking day bitching and moaning and complaining about censorship and social justice warriors and, all this shit on Facebook. And it's like, you're bitching about it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Go to the other services.
Yeah.
Go. If your bitch is that Facebook is censoring shit, then stop using it.
Right. I agree.
Dude, I know you poke in on my Facebook every once in a while. How, compared to 1 year ago, how much different is my use of Facebook?
Well, you used to have long tirades on there and long, get into arguments and get into, the back and forth. And, now basically whenever I do check out your Facebook now and again, it's basically you uploaded a video from a concert or maybe, said, hey, look what I came in the mail today. It might be a new CD or something, Yeah,
nothing about news, nothing about anything anymore. I don't use it. I mean, I don't use it to communicate. Hell, this week I spent going through my fucking Messenger, and I'm starting to turn off the Messenger now. Because remember I told you last week, people keep commenting on, in the middle of the fucking night. And I keep getting woke up by the Messenger. So now I started turning off the Messenger and, trying to limit who can message me, that I get immediate messages. I'm getting out of Facebook. I can't completely close it because I make too much money doing it, for other people that it's tied to my fucking Facebook. But believe me, if there was a way that I could have Facebook business pages without having a personal page, I'd be out. And I'm slowly moving. I have an alternative Facebook account that, that I have for business now. And I'm slowly migrating all my business pages over to it. And once that's done, I'm out. I'm just going to be out. I really don't fucking use it other than very occasionally I use Facebook Messenger, to talk to friends about, hey, let's get together for drinks or whatever.
Sure.
And I can't even remember the last time I posted on my personal Twitter. I could close that today. It wouldn't fucking matter. I don't even use it. I don't even look at it. I just never think to actually close the account.
Yeah.
I use the CMS Twitter is what I generally use, and I don't have any real reason to be out on regular Twitter. For what? What am I going to use it for? It's all gotten to be useless. You've convinced me, man. I've gone from being the most fucking social media active person in the world to just fucking hating it.
Yeah.
And I wish I didn't have my life built into it, to where I could just pull the tentacles out and fucking move on. But unfortunately, I can't. Not unless I want to fucking go live under a bridge.
Yeah. Well, the message here, I know that we've built an audience. We have a very niche audience, but
sure.
Anybody who has any concern for this type of thing, I encourage you to, what Chris said, use our alternative outlets.
Right.
Because, you know what, these major corporations, the Facebooks and the YouTubes and the Googles of the world, they got too much power now.
Yeah, they do.
Way too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got to get away from this shit. You have to use the alternatives that are not about, censoring speech. Because if you keep using those that are censoring censoring speech, you keep valuing them. You keep giving them value. You know, everybody forgets that the reason that Facebook is worth $18 gazillion is because of the number of people that are on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and don't think for a second. Facebook sells ads just like Google sells ads. And Facebook's ads, you know, I mean, I buy Facebook ads, so I know what they're selling. And what they're selling is the number of clicks that they can guarantee you in a day. And the way they can guarantee it to you in a day is by them seeing how many people are on and how many people with this category and that category that they've posted on before. It's all, you know, it's all figured out for them. And that's how Facebook makes money. So in essence, I know people always say, well, I don't pay anything for it. Yeah, but you're fucking making other people pay to be on it. You are part of their product. And so you really can't, if you're active on Facebook and you're in there every day, you know, posting about whatever, you know, whatever it is that you're into or doing or whatever, you in essence are feeding money to Facebook. You're part of the reason that they get paid. You know, if you truly don't believe in Facebook, then get the fuck off it. If you don't believe in Twitter, get the fuck off it. Use the alternative sources. And the only way those are going to get big is if you fucking stop using the ones that are abusing you.
Yeah.
It's just bullshit.
Yep, I agree. All right, well, let's take a short break here, play a couple of tunes. Our good friend Sal in the chat room, he wanted to hear some Cinderella from their Night Songs release.
All right.
And, well, this is a good tune for this segment here. It's Nothing for Nothing. So here it is. It's Cinderella exclusively here
On your classic metal show.
Hey, this is Tom Kiefer of Cinderella, and you're listening to Neeley on the Classic Metal Show.